Tuna kay tato. Nya ang tato, ang ink ana consecrated to Satan. Nya ang tato, ang ink ana consecrated to Satan.
Blessings, dear brothers and sisters. This is Bishop Joseph Lagumbay from the Catholic Universalist Church, and today, pag-uusapan natin kung totoo nga bang demonic or satanic ang tattoo. Alright? So, yes, may video kasi si Father Darwin Gitgano na kumakalat ngayon na kung saan sinasabi niya na yung mga tattoo raw is demonic or satanic, ano? And this can be a cause of demonic possession. Now, totoo nga ba ito? When I check other videos of Father Darwin, hindi naman niya sinasabi na lahat talaga ng mga tattoo ay masama, no? Pero ang sinasabi kasi niya is that there are some tattoos daw that the ink is consecrated to Satan. Now, there are, several things to really talk about in this issue. We can't actually automatically say na tattoo is bad because there were people who associated a demonic possession with tattoo. Eto, magsimula tayo sa topic about consecrating the ink, no, for Satan. Before I became a priest in the Catholic Universalist Church, I actually studied different spiritual traditions to be able to understand fully what is spirituality, no, to understand what God is. Kasi naniniwala ako dati na you cannot put God in just one church, right? Because every religious tradition came from, different cultures and, it evolved in different geopolitical climates. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng iba't ibang interpretation, but iisang Diyos lang yung sinasamba natin. So, I studied different spiritual traditions at isa na dito ang occultism. And I realized na sa occult kasi, there is no practice of consecrating an ink for a demonic or satanic purposes. Kasi, in occultism kasi, symbols may come from just, regular things. Like, for example, magdodrawing ako ng isang symbol, tas I will energize that. Doon ko siya mako-consecrate. Not the ink itself, not consecrating the ink, but rather the symbol or the actual object itself will be consecrated for a special use. Now, second is that when you say consecrate, it means to turn something into sacred, no? For sacred purposes. Now, it's just, a bit ironic that he used the word consecrating the ink to Satan, because how can you make something sacred for Satan, which is, quote-unquote, bad, or ina-associate natin si Satan sa negativity sa universe na ito, di ba? So, that's just off, alright? So, yun, there is hindi siya isang common practice, no, that there are inks being consecrated for demonic purposes or, for satanic purposes. If you know a tattoo artist who consecrates ink for Satan, please let me know in the comments below, no? Nang sa ganun ma-check natin at makita natin kung totoo nga bang kino-consecrate nila yung ink. Next point is that they associate tattoos with, demonic possession. It's because nasa Old Testament kasi no nakasulat na ipinagbabawal sa Old Testament, no, ang pagtatattoo. Now, if we really try to understand, the context of those verses in the Old Testament, we can immediately see that these rules are specific for those Hebrews in the past. Why? So, eto, just to give you a brief context, no, of the history. Number one is that the Hebrews, they believe that, they are the chosen people, and they believe that, their body is sacred. So, they do not practice anything that distorts or changes their natural, natural body, no? So, isa na doon ang pagpipiercing at ang pagtatattoo, no? Because that's not part of their culture, no? That's not part of their culture, so they don't want to practice that. They don't want to associate with anything that deals with other cultures kasi nga they are the chosen people of God. But, right now, no? In this time and age, as Christians, we understand that God looks at our hearts and not what is, in our physical appearance, kahit ano pang suot mo, kahit ano pang itsura mo, kahit ano pang ilagay mo dyan sa katawan mo, what God sees is actually the heart, right? Second is that during that time kasi in the Old Testament, kailangan nating maintindihan na the way they put tattoos is very barbaric and very unhygienic, okay? So in the ancient time, gumagamit sila ng primitive materials, no? And yung ginagawa nilang pantattoo is most of the time water, tapos yung uling, tapos hindi pa sterilize yung ginagamit nilang karayom. Actually, hindi karayom yung gamit nila dati. Parang anything sharp na isusubsub nila doon yung ink, tapos dinudot-dot sa balat. And, walang antibiotic dati, walang alcohol, walang kahit ano. So, what happens is that after being tattooed, nagkakasakit yung tao. Like, almost 90% ng nilalagyan ng tattoo, nilalagnat. Kasi ganun yun eh. Ganun nangyayari pag nagkakaroon ng infection yung sugat ng tao talaga. So, that's why in other cultures, no, in the if you're familiar with the Polynesians, no, in Hawaii or even here dito sa Pilipinas, kapag isa kang warrior, lalagyan ka ng tattoo, it means you are really a great warrior. Why? Because after putting the tattoo, you are in so much hardship. Kasi nga yung pagtattoo pa lang mismo, napakasakit na nun. Tapos after that, lalagnatin ka pa, magkakasakit ka. And if you survive, that means you have been quote-unquote chosen by the gods na isa ka talagang strong warrior. So ganun yon. So since it's very unhygienic, maraming namamatay po sa pagpapatato in ancient times. Okay? That's why it is prohibited sa mga Hebrews, di ba? Kasi they are putting themselves in danger once they apply or once they put tattoos. Unlike today na 'di ba may mga machine na, meron ng mga alcohol, meron ng mga sabon, and also, times are changing, and right now tattoos are very safe, no? Ako ilang araw lang gumaling na tong tattoo ko, 'di ba? Number 3 is that yung pagtatattoo kasi nung unang panahon, hindi yan katulad ngayon na kapag nagtattoo ka, gusto mo lang kasi you want to express yourself, no? Creativity. In ancient times kasi iba. Kasi a tattoo is actually a symbol that connects you to a certain group or to a certain deity or to a certain god or to a certain movement. So ganun yun, symbolic yun. So meaning, because sa sinabi ko na nga kanina, naniniwala ang mga Hebrews na they are the chosen people of God, they don't want to associate themselves with any other group. Kasi dati kasi there are pagan groups who tattoos themselves with the symbol of their deity. Okay? At dito na papasok yung tinatawag natin na sigils. So, what is a sigil? A sigil is a symbol, no? A symbol that associates itself with a certain deity, a certain power, or a certain mechanism. Okay, an energetic mechanism that is created consciously. So, simply put, there is a symbol that's associated to an angel. There's a symbol that's associated with a devil or a demon. There's also a symbol that's associated to yourself. Yung sigil na gawa mo, gumawa ka ng symbol for yourself. There's also a sigil that corresponds to healing. There's also a sigil that corresponds for protection. So, ganun yun. Iba't iba yung mga sigil. These are symbols. Now, these symbols are not just regular symbols because they have meaning. Think of it this way. By the way, I'm speaking on an occultist's perspective, ha, para maintindihan ninyo. Let's say, for example, yung symbol or logo ni Jollibee. Once nakakita ka na symbol ni Jollibee, what do you feel? Diba? You feel happy, you like see children, eating happily, no? So, sigils kasi, or symbols, evokes a certain emotion sa lahat ng tao. So, it connects you to that thing that it represents. So, for example, ako dati, nakapagtrabaho ko dati sa Toyota as a salesperson. Kapag nakikita ko yung symbol ng Toyota, yung na pumapasok sa isip ko is high quality, discipline, resilience, yung mga ganun, yung mga attributes na, about discipline talaga na in-instill sa atin ng mga Japanese employers ko dati. And nakikita din yan sa mga cars nila. So, when I see the symbol of Toyota, nakikita ko na, uy, eto, top grade, top quality, ganun. So, it evokes a certain emotion, a certain memories in us. So, sigils also work that way. Kaso lang, etong sigils kasi na sinasabi ko, these are specific configurations, the shapes, the design, the angles of that specific logo or sigil is a configuration in order to access a certain deity or a certain power or let's say a certain entity. Okay? So, yung sigil kasi, there are many ways how to make a sigil. You can create your personal sigil. You can also copy a sigil from, let's say, ancient texts. But ito yung sinasabi ko na this is very risky ha, because there are sigils na kapag hindi mo siya naintindihan, baka iba yung epekto niya sa iyo. So, in creating a sigil kasi, even if you are just copying it, you need to energize the sigil and you also need to activate the sigil. Kunwari, I have friends who are into energy healing, and ipinatato nila sa kanilang katawan etong sigil ni Saint Raphael. So, etong sigil ni Saint Raphael, paano nila ito nakuha? Gumamit sila ng gematria, or these are the corresponding numbers and letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Tapos it's a very interesting process. Sometimes they also get the angle of the stars sa astrology, yung mga symbolism na ganun, and it's combined, and that specific configuration aligns you to that certain deity. Raphael means the healer of God. So this is a positive a positive sigil. This is a good sigil na pinapatato nila sa kanilang sarili so that they can invoke healing directly from God. Now, kapag pinatato nila yan, hindi yan magkakaroon ng epekto kung hanggang tattoo lang yan. Or saan mo ba yan pinatato? Hindi yan magkaka-epekto agad. Kailangan mo yung i-energize. So there is a method of energizing it. You could do meditation, or you could do like conscious intention of energizing it or whatnot. Yung iba pinapaso nila yung sarili nila so that their mind will create a strong let's say force of energy to energize that sigil and so on. And then after energizing it, saka mo pa yan i-activate. There is an activation of the sigil para magamit mo siya. Now, thinking of a demonic sigil na ilalagay mo sa katawan mo, like really yung pinasadya mo talaga na demonic sigil, without understanding kung ano yung nagagawa ng sigil na yun, kung saan yun nakakonekta na demon or saan yun nakakonekta na entity. Now, that's a bit tricky. Kasi pwede naman nating sabihin na kahit hindi mo naintindihan yung sigil na ipinalagay mo, but that sigil is from a demon, kung hindi mo siya i-energize at hindi mo siya i-activate, most likely, quote-unquote, wala yung epekto sa'yo. But, remember that everything in the universe is energy, and our minds, we have our conscious mind, pero meron din tayong tinatawag na subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is very powerful than our conscious mind. And sometimes, there are subtle suggestions whereby, kahit hindi natin sinasadya na ma-activate yung sigil, but because of the power of suggestion, we have energized and we have activated the sigil and so on. So, yun, nagkakaroon siya ng kapangyarihan, quote-unquote, and then perhaps you will be able to draw forth energy from that certain deity that it is connected to, or that certain demon or that certain entity that it is connected to. So, dear brothers and sisters, it is really important that we understand the things or the symbols that you want to put in our bodies, because it could evoke a certain emotion, a certain energy, or a certain power from a certain deity. So, etong tattoo ko, this is the tetragramma to, Yod He Vav He. Ito yung the 4-letter word or the 4-letter name of God, in the ancient Hebrew. So, ipinatattoo ko siya because this is my right hand, and my right hand is the one that is giving blessing as a priest. So, since this is the proper name of the Lord or God, ipinatattoo ko siya because I will dedicate my right hand in order to give blessings to people. So perhaps, yes, this is a sigil, but I am doing this to give blessing to people and not to give punishment to anyone. So that's how I am using it. So yun lang, even if you don't practice occultism or you don't practice magic or witchcraft or whatnot, eto lang, if magpapatattoo kayo, wala talagang problema as long as first you understand kung ano yung ipinapatattoo ninyo, and second, there is a conscious intention bakit nyo ipinapatattoo yan. Okay? Hindi yung gaya-gaya lang kasi napaka-cool nito, this is the symbol of this demon or this tas di nyo naintindihan, then better yet, wag na lang. Okay? So yeah, dear brothers and sisters, I hope may natutunan kayong bago, And yes, if you want to hear more content like this, paki-like na lang, tapos paki-follow, tapos paki-share na lang din ng video na to. Nang sa ganun, mas madami pang mga katulad ninyo, no, ng mga seekers din na mas maintindihan ang mga bagay na ito in a deeper, esoteric level. Alright? So, tayo kasi dito sa Catholic Universalist Church, we are Christians but we are not close-minded. We are open to other spiritual traditions. We study them not because we want to convert to those religion but because we want to understand how are they seeing things from their perspective. Mas nakikita natin ang ating similarities. Mas nakikita natin na iisang Diyos lang pala ang ating sinasamba. We just have, a different interpretation of things. But at the end of the day, at the end of this all, we all go back to the same God. Namaste.